Hey there, welcome. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing, and also don't forget to click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you enjoy this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. So today we're going to be making two different style organic wreaths. The first one we're going to be using, as promised, these butterfly wings. Just go ahead and remove all the pieces of the butterfly wings except for the wiring itself. And this fabric is like nylon pantyhose style, so you just need some scissors, kind of make an opening and then just remove it from your wiring. And what I did is I removed it for all four of my wings, and then I just grabbed it, bunched it up in the middle, and then just grabbed some scissors and cut it off. I've always seen these wings at Dollar Tree, and I've always wanted to use them for something. I just never knew for what besides centerpieces. And of course you can use this wreath on it as a centerpiece as well, but I just never knew what else to do with them until I thought of this. So I was super happy I could figure something out to use these for it besides just like baby showers or what have you. So what you're going to do is go ahead and unravel some nautical rope and just grab one of the pieces of nautical rope or one of the strands. Hot glue it to the center and then just start twisting it around your butterfly. Now what I did was I just made like an open twist like this instead of making it all tight. I wanted to see a little bit of the white come through of around my rope, but if you don't want that look, go ahead and just twist it tighter to make it so you will only see the rope and none of the wiring. And I just kind of wrapped it around the second wing. Again, just leaving that open, larger twist. And then I just glued it in the center and then wrapped it towards the opposite, the other two wings. Instead of cutting it and knotting it, I just kind of wrapped it around in the center and then just started wrapping it around the third wing. Just remember to add a little bit of glue every so often. Now when you get to the end of your rope and if you don't finish your wings with one strand, just go ahead and glue the end to your wiring, and then just grab another piece of rope and then glue it right next to it and just continue twisting. Now what I did at the end was I wrapped it around the center a few times, and then I just made a knot with an opening so I can have something to hang this with. Now after I did that, I went ahead and grabbed some jute twine. Now you see I'm double knotting the jute twine to one of my wings, but I've left an extra piece of the jute twine at the end of the knot because I'm going to use that towards the end. So you don't go ahead, just leave an extra little piece there. And now what I did and the way I twisted it was basically wrapped it around each one of my wings where the wiring or the opening of my rope was at. But if you can twist it as much as you like and make it as close of the jute twine as you like. I wanted it to be more of that open look, so I just twisted it a few times. Now what I'm doing to go back down is basically making big V's or just like a big triangle going all the way down to start on my next wing. Adding a little bit of glue every so often. Basically, for my jute twine, I just added glue when I was at the very end of my wing and also when I would come back down. I have a question. Do you guys decorate for spring and for Easter? Do you use like a certain theme? Say just like for instance, right now, butterflies, or say just Easter bunnies, or Easter eggs, or the birds, or any theme like that? Or do you do like a certain color, or do you just do whatever you like? I know I typically try, I don't always, but I typically try to use a certain color, and then I just decorate with whatever I think is pretty, but I do incorporate the same colors throughout my entire house. Let me know in the comments down below how you do it. Once you're done wrapping all the jute twine around all your wings, go ahead and just start gluing the ends to your last wing. And then what I did was basically leave about a good 10 inches of jute twine, and then I just grabbed that piece and tied it to the first piece of jute twine that I left at the beginning. Now again, don't cut these pieces off either. What I'm going to do is grab some greenery. I'm grabbing these using some pieces of this fern, but you can use any kind of greenery that you like. And I'm gluing the greenery onto my butterfly itself right in the center. But for the roses that I'm going to use, which are these beautiful pink ones, the blush ones, I'm going to remove them from the stem, and I'm also removing the greenery that comes with the roses. And I grabbed a piece of poster board or cardboard, whatever you'd like, and I'm going to glue all my flowers onto that little board and the poster board. And the reason why I did this was because, one, I thought it would be neater to glue them onto something and then glue the board onto my butterfly, and two, I just thought it would be easier as well than to try to glue all these flowers onto the center of my butterfly, since it's such a small little space. So again, I just grabbed all the flowers, and I just used one stem of roses, which is 6 flowers for this wreath. And I also went ahead and grabbed some of the leaves that came with the roses, and I believe I only used 2 of the little bunches, and I just glued them to the center of my little floral arrangement. But of course, you can add as much or as little as you like. Now what I'm going to do is use some hot glue and glue the actual back of the board onto my butterfly center. Now with the 2 pieces of jute twine that you left that I said not to cut off, that's why we're going to use these for me to tie the actual poster board to my butterfly, just to make it nice and secure. I double knotted that jute twine, and now I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that piece and just allow all the glue to dry for a little while. And you can leave it as is, but I thought it needed something extra. So what I went ahead and did was grab some of the green ribbon that I'm using throughout all my Easter decor, and I added some jute twine to the center of that as well. Just fluffed it up, and I'm going to glue my ribbon to the center of my floral arrangement. And there you have it, an adorable organic butterfly wreath. I'm going to use it as a wreath. My daughter loved it so much that she even wants to use it in her room, like I guess year round, but it is adorable. So our next wreath what we're going to do is basically I'm using some of the Easter eggs that I had from last year, but of course you can use whichever eggs you have. And I just grabbed a piece of skewer stick and just inserted it into the opening of my eggs, and now I'm going to paint them. And you can paint them any color, you can even spray paint them, but I wanted it to have more of that chalk paint look, more of that dry look, not the shiny spray paint. So you can get matte spray paint, but I'm using Waverly chalk paint and also apple barrel. I'm using the colors Waverly chalk paint and celery and pink, and then I believe it's called lavender and the apple barrel, but I'll make sure to leave the colors down below. I painted each one of them one coat, allowed them to dry, and then gave them a second coat. I'm also going to use 2 of these bunnies, and I painted them with the color khaki from apple barrel. Now you don't have to paint them because you might not see a huge difference, but I wanted them just a little bit darker than the natural wood color that they come in. But you can even stain them with the antique wax paint from Waverly chalk paint would look pretty too, just if you want them a little bit darker. Or you can give them a splash of color, you know, and maybe paint them pink or purple, I'm sorry. Any color you like, you can paint your bunnies. And for the bunnies, I just gave them one coat. Now I went outside and just grabbed a few branches, and I try to grab a few different sizes. So I grabbed some thinner ones and a little bit thicker, and I'm just going to bunch them up together until I'm happy with the amount I have on my hand. And now I'm going to grab some jute twine and just start wrapping it around all my branches together. And just wrap it around as few times. I want to say at least a good 10 times. But you can wrap it up again as many times as you like. Once you're happy, go ahead and cut off the rest of the jute twine and just double knot it. Now I'm going to grab some longer or thicker piece of the nautical rope, just one strand, and I'm going to tie it to the thickest branch that I have in my little wreath display. And once you've double knotted it and you're happy where your rope is at to hang it from, you can add some hot glue or even some permanent E6000 glue to each one of the knots if you're not comfortable with just the knot itself to hold it all in place. Now, once you've done that, go ahead and kind of look at your branches and figure out what side you want the front to be and what side you want the back to be. Once you're happy and you decide that, go ahead and lay it down the front part up and the back part down. Then go ahead and start grabbing some yarn is what I'm using, ribbon, some jute twine, anything like that. I'm even going to use some raffia as well. And what I did was just kind of cut a little bit extra than what I needed of yarn, just to make enough for 3 strands. And the size of the length of the yarn that I'm using for each one of the strands, I didn't measure. I just kind of eyeballed it, and they're not all the same, and that was just the style that I wanted to go for. But if you want to measure them out and cut them all exactly the same, you know, that's your style, go ahead and do that. Once I decided where I wanted to place them, I just double knotted each one of the yarns, removing the extra piece of yarn at top, And then I went ahead and grabbed some of this blush pink raffia that comes in a roll. And for the raffia, I didn't tie it because I was too scared to think that it would maybe break off once I tried to knot it. So what I did was I hot glued my raffia to my branches. I hope I'm giving you guys some ideas of different styles of wreaths. That's my goal, just to show you guys or inspire you to think out of the box and not just think of the typical style wreath that everyone uses. You know, just use what you have or what you like and make a wreath out of it. I place wreaths all throughout my house, not just in front of my door. I put them in front of mirrors. I even put them inside my cabinets and stuff, my china cabinet and everything. Do you guys do the same? Do you put wreaths everywhere, you know, or just throughout your home? Or do you just hang them around your doors? I even lay them, like, say, on top of, you know, a vanity or a bookshelf. I kind of just lay them towards the back just as a background. So yeah, I like using wreaths around my house. So I went with three of everything. So I used three of the green yarn, three of the raffia. Now I'm using three of this green yarn ribbon that I purchased at Dollar Tree as well. And then I'm also going to use a few other colors. This white, for instance. And I did the same thing, just kind of cut them and then double knotted it at the top where the branches were at. And then I'm going to work with them and start cutting and trimming all of the ribbons just to see, you know, the length that I want them to be. I also unraveled the raffia and then I just pulled it apart to make two strands. That strand kind of pulled apart, but I wasn't worried. I just kind of just continued to pull it to make two strands. So once you're happy with the amount of ribbon that you placed onto your branches, go ahead and grab your jute twine and cut the jute twine a little bit extra longer than what you want to use for your eggs. Like I said, I decided to use four different color four eggs. And what I'm going to do is pop them open, and I'm going to thread my jute twine through the openings that the Easter egg already has. And I just double knotted it on top. Now you can add a bow or even like a little bird or a little flower on top of your Easter eggs if you don't want to see that knot. Once I was done with that, I went ahead and grabbed my hot glue gun, added some glue to the opening of the Easter egg, and then shut it closed just to make sure that it wouldn't pop open. And I did that to all the Easter eggs. So once you did that, go ahead and place your branches and on something flat, and then you can start cutting and arranging and making sure that you like where your ribbons are at. And once you're happy with that, go ahead and start gluing your bunnies to your branches. Again, making sure that you have the front and the back where it needs to be in order for you to glue your bunnies right on the top. And I'm just using my hot glue gun, but if you want, go ahead and use some E6000 or permanent glue, fix-all glue, to your bunnies to make sure they stay in place, but they do stay in place with the hot glue. Once you've allowed those two bunnies to dry, now you can start adding your greenery and your floral flowers to your wreath. And don't unravel your wreath, your vine. It's just easier if you keep it all bunched up. For some reason, I thought it would be easier for me to unravel it, but you'll see that I'm going to twist it all back into a little ring so I can fix this and arrange it easier. Here I am just twisting it all back. So just go ahead and keep it twisted and then just start twisting it around your branches. And the reason why I do it this way is because for one, I wanted to make sure that I placed it where the bunnies were going to be at. And two, because I wanted to cover up some of the knots from my ribbon in the bottom. That's why I decided to do it this way. But if you don't feel comfortable, again, go ahead and do it before you add your ribbons and your bunnies. Cut off any of the extra vine that you don't want to use, and then just twist it around your thickest part of your branch and then add some hot glue. And now I'm also going to add a little bit of these flowers that I had. I just removed them from the stem, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue them onto the branches. And you can add as much or as little as you like. I just wanted to add a little bit. This is some of that green yellowish color of florals that you can purchase right now. Here what I'm doing is I'm going to cut each one of the flowers individually. That way I can place them wherever I want and not have to place them all in a bunch. So I'm adding some to the center. And I'm going to glue some to the thinner part of the branches. That way when you do hang your wreath, you can see the thin part of your branch as well. Once you're done adding all the flowers, what I decided to do was go ahead and get a little bit of the natural color raffia, and I just made a simple knot, a simple bow to add to one of my bunnies. Now, if you don't want to add bows to your bunnies, you can add a little flower, or you can leave them as is, or you can even add some ribbon or a little bit of lace. Endless possibilities of what you can do. You can even add, say, the bunny tail. But I decided to go ahead and add just a cute little bow on both of my bunnies. One with the raffia, another one with the vintage lace. And once I did that and I was finished and happy with everything, I went ahead and grabbed my Easter eggs. And now what I'm going to do is just arrange them to where I think I want them and the length that I want them at. Then I just went ahead and wrapped the jute twine around my branches, and then I double knotted. And I don't cut off that extra piece of jute twine, I just left it in there hanging. And the reason why I'm doing this at the end is because now I already cut my ribbon, I already know where it's at, and that way I can just make sure that I have my eggs where I want them to be. And there you have it, an adorable organic wreath. What do you guys think? Which one's your favorite? I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.